What's good, y'all? What's goody? What's goody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. I'd like to welcome you to a long car ride chronicles, episode 24. 24 episodes in, like you got 24 hours in there to make yourself great. And today, I want to talk to you guys about, more of the life of a musician, what that's like, the trials and tribulations that come along with it, or not just a musician, but also a musical artist, and, just the journey overall. Now, I've talked about this on my channel at one point in time, not necessarily about the general aspect of the journey of being a musician, but more so what it's like in terms of my musical journey. So I kind of want to tie that in today with some things that I've never talked about before in my musical journey, but also what it's like from a musical standpoint in general. And hopefully, really, my main aim for this episode is to truly give you guys some encouragement as far as what you can do as an upcoming artist, what that may look like, and here to remind you that even though the journey is not easy, it's most certainly one of those things that is well worth it if you keep pushing forward to it. Now, for those who may not know, I am a rap artist. So for all my new subscribers, yes, I am a part of the hip hop culture, right? I have been rapping since I was 11 years old. So 22 years now. I've been putting my pen to the pad, writing rhymes. Well, I guess technically 23. I did my first freestyle rap when I was 10 years old, but I started taking it seriously when I was 11. And during that, time, I've seen a lot of ups, I've seen a lot of downs. I've had a chance to perform alongside some great individuals. I've also had a chance to meet a lot of great individuals and artists as well. And I want to talk to you today about some of the things that I've learned, some of the things that you'll probably go through as an artist, some do's and some don'ts, and some early mistakes that I made that you might not want to make if you want to be successful a little faster than the level that I'm at currently. So I didn't start recording in the studio until I was 16 years old. And I think I've told this story before, but I'll say it again for my new viewers. My grandmother, shout out to Nana, my mom's mom, she gifted me with an amazing birthday present when I turned 16. That birthday present was a trip to the studio. She had met a woman by the name of Raina Williams. Shout out to her, by the way. Amazing, dope artist, lives in New York. I see. I'm gonna find her Instagram and make sure I leave a link for you guys so you can check out her stuff. She was my first ever producer, engineer, first person that I pretty much worked with in the studio, right? First person that, outside of my family that believed in me with my music, like for real, besides like my friends and stuff. And from there, the rest is history. I recorded my first mixtape. Started recording my first mixtape when I turned 16. Came out with the mixtape when I was 17, when I was a senior in high school. It was called Definition of an Outcast. I didn't sell the mixtapes. I actually passed it out for free. The hustler that's within me now would have passed some things out for about $3 to $5. But, hey, back then, wasn't really thinking about that. Just wanted to get the music out there. It was well received. And I think that's really, if I'm being completely honest with you here, the number one thing that matters. As long as your project is well received and, you get constructive criticism from it, it's all good, right? But I will say this. Keep in mind, when I came out with my first mixtape, Definition of an Outcast, that was back in 2007. So that was 15 years ago. A lot has changed during that time period. We didn't really have a lot of streaming sites during that time. Yes, we had a few streaming platforms from websites to stream music off of. I mean, we had Rhapsody, that was the biggest one. We had LimeWire. Woo, Jesus Lord. The many viruses you got from a computer from LimeWire. Don't even get me started on that one. That's a whole nother video for another day, y'all. Maybe a throwback video or something. Of course, you can stream music off of AOL. Dang, I'm really starting to tell my age here. And so many different things, right? So many different ways. Now, streaming is a lot more open than it used to be. But back in, the mid-2000s, towards the late 2000s, people were still buying CDs. People still had CD players. So, of course, my mixtape was on a CD. Now, I did also post songs on my MySpace page when that was a thing. I'm not even sure, is MySpace still a thing? I'm curious. Anyways, when that was a thing, I was posting my stuff on MySpace. But it was like, you could really, on the artist page, you could really only post about 4 songs at a time. I'm not sure if they increased over time or whatnot. I kind of got away from MySpace at some point in time because I ended up, going to Facebook and eventually Instagram and things like that, right? So, I say all that to say that as an artist, especially if you're a younger artist, you have streaming platforms at your disposal. Now, I will say this, streaming platforms do not pay out a lot of money when it comes to music. If you want to make money off of music, there's other ways. I don't know what this guy is doing. I hope he's being safe. There's other ways to do it, if you will. You know what I'm saying? But the one thing I will say is with streaming platforms, it gives you an advantage to just uploading your music. Of course, you got to pass through protocols. And, if you're not careful, copyright can be a thing. And so on and so forth. They will take your stuff down if it's copyright infringed. So, just obviously be mindful of that. Make sure your work is original and whatnot. I know a lot of times people will have the habit of, wanting to use like beats off of YouTube and things like that. I wouldn't recommend doing that. At least like if you're trying to put your music on streaming platforms, only because you want to have your music as original as all possible. So that way, you can actually go ahead and make money off of it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's ultimately the goal, right? The goal should be to make money off of your music at some point, capitalize on it, get your music out there. I mean, I get it, sometimes, especially as a rap artist, you want to make, let me slow down. Sometimes even as a rap artist, you want to like make remixes of songs. As an R&B artist, you want to do like covers of songs and so on and so forth. And those can all be very unique things, if you will. Very, very unique things at heart. But also, you got to realize that that's not where the money is at all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's not what's going to get you money ultimately. The ultimate way of getting your money as a musician is really going to be your original work. I mean, yes, to start off, you could do like remixes and covers to get yourself out there. I think that's a great idea. But you also want to make sure you have some original things in the tuck. So that way, once you do get out there, you can say, hey, this is one of my original songs. Check it out. I mean, prime example I can think of, and I may have talked about her before, LMA. Shout out to her. She's one of my favorite R&B artists. She got famous from doing covers, right? If you don't know what a cover is basically just, you literally singing the same exact song. Just obviously it's you and not the other person. Same exact lyrics and everything. You might put a little twist to it, but it's still a cover. And she was discovered by quite a few people, including DJ Mustard, who brought her on and signed her. And next thing you know, she getting well known. Mind you, LMA, she's from the UK. You know what I'm saying? But her music, was so well known and it spread so much, including her covers, that eventually she was even recognized in the States. So that's typically what happens with a lot of people. So, there's ways that you can definitely put yourself out there, remixes, and you can do covers and things like that to get yourself noticed. And I think the beautiful thing about people now, and I'm speaking to my younger individuals when I say this, but this can apply to many other individuals, is compared to when I first came out in the music scene, there's so much at your disposal. I mean, yes, when I started getting in the studio when I was 16, YouTube was a thing, but a lot of people didn't necessarily know how to navigate through YouTube. Big ups to Soulja Boy, by the way. If you know, you know. He was one of the first individuals to exploit the use of YouTube for musical gain, right? Pretty much a hip-hop legend in his own right and a musical legend in his own right just for that. And like, when you think about so many other factors of what people have at this disposal, I mean, you have social media like Instagram, you have Facebook, you have X, formerly known as Twitter, you have Threads, you have TikTok. I mean, well, by the recording of this video, that's kind of up in the air. Yeah, that part. You have so many different things at your disposal. And forgive me, I'm gonna roll down my window just a little bit if it gets a little windy. Gotta clear this fog. But that's the beautiful thing, and you gotta utilize all your platforms. But while you're utilizing these things, I want you to make sure that you are also focusing on your brand. Like, how do you focus on your brand? Well, the first thing you do is you gotta come up with a name. Once you come up with a name, you need to see if you can get it copyrighted, right? And here's why I say copyright is so important, along with LLCs and all that good stuff. The reason why copyrights is so important is because name carries value. I'll say it again. And this is with anything, not just in the music industry, but in general. Name carries a lot of value. What people know you as far as your name will go a long way. But if you're not careful and you make a name for yourself, anybody can go ahead and try to take your name, a nobody for that matter, and be like, oh, that's my name, I had it first. Then next thing you know, gotta change it, gotta get some more paperwork in. So get the paperwork in ASAP. Shout out to my dog, Des Navigator, my brother, also leader of the Innovators Music Group. I know he's gonna get mad if he hear that. Like, leader, what is he talking about? The reason why I say that is because Des is very big on paperwork when it comes to anything dealing with the Innovators Music Group. And a lot of people don't like to deal with the paperwork aspect because they feel like it's just so time consuming and this and that and so on and so forth. And I get that, but one thing I want to like really put out there is it's worth putting the time in. I mean, right now, I've been getting some stuff behind the scenes done for Teachable Tuesdays, and it's quite a bit of work. A lot of people think, oh, I'm gonna just upload a YouTube video and that's that. And I mean, yeah, that's easy. I do that all the time. But it's a lot of work that goes behind making sure you're well funded, making sure things are copywritten, make sure you're having your LLC, making sure you have all your bearings in order, so that way when it's time to make your money is flowing in nice and easy. And not just money, but also deals that you can get, brands, partnerships, sponsorships, so on and so forth. So many things that go into it. And with music, it's complicated but not complicated at the same time. I say it's complicated because there's so many scenarios that you got to dish out, so many things to figure out on one end. But then on the other end, it's not really complicated because it's just a matter of doing the work, reading carefully, and understanding that there's a lot of resources out here to help you out. I mean, YouTube, honestly, is your best friend. I'm not saying listen to everybody that's on YouTube. Definitely don't. Not everybody necessarily has great advice. Even the advice that I'm giving out, if I'm being 100% honest with you, it may not be useful to you, and that's perfectly fine. The way I'm talking right now is simply for my beginner artists who are getting started. If you're more intermediate or advanced, you're probably like, Marcus, I already know this stuff, and maybe this is just a refresher, or maybe this is just something I can pass on to somebody else, which, by the way, please feel free to share this video. Make sure you like and comment. It's good for the algorithm. But anyways, yeah. Also, realize on your musical journey, let me just give you a very heart-to-heart, transparent one. There are some people that are going to support you through thick and thin, and there are some people that just do not believe in your dream. They won't believe in your dream. They won't believe in your vision. They won't see your vision. And that is what it is. As my mama said, it is what it is. Right? There are times where you are going to be heavily discouraged because the closest people you think that support you, including your family and friends, will not support you. They will never post a flyer. They'll never repost your song. They'll never come out to your show. And I'm not saying this to be a negative Nancy. I'm saying this so that way you can know thoroughly what to expect as you make your way up and you start performing and you get more comfortable putting your music out there. Everybody ain't gonna believe in your dream, and you still gotta press forward. right? And you can't hold that against them. Some people don't even believe in their own dreams. But even further than that, they just might not be digging it. And you got to accept the fact that you might have some of the dopest music out there, but the fact of the matter is, everybody ain't gonna dig your music. I'm pretty sure there's some dope heavy metal artists out there, but I'm not really a huge heavy metal fan. I do have some heavy metal artists that I like. I do have some heavy metal songs I like. But if you put that on the list of genres that I listen to frequently, that's a little closer to the bottom. And there's nothing against heavy metal. Shout out to all my heavy metal artists out there. It just is not my style. Just like with hip hop. I know a lot of people where hip hop isn't their style. So when it comes to my music, they might not check it out. And I gotta be okay with that. You know, it's like, hey Marcus, I love you, but rap music ain't really my thing. Okay, cool. Respect the honesty. Because everybody's not gonna necessarily do that for you. Nor do they have to. That's something that I had to learn. Everybody doesn't have to tell you why they won't support you. You know, you just, and then it leads me to my next thing. You know, the support that you do get, don't take that lightly. You know, appreciate the support that you do get, because it means a lot. It means the world. You know, I think I've talked about on this channel before, focusing on the positives instead of the negatives. You know, so many times we focus so much on the negative, or should I say hyper focus on the negative, because it's, you know, it's like the thing we wish we could change. But instead of worrying about that, how about we focus on the things that are just right in front of us that we don't need to change? The support that we're getting, the constructive criticism that we're getting, the outlook on the music that we're seeing, right? So that's something I want to really portray to a lot of my new artists, because that's important. It's really, really important. Another thing I want you to consider is being open to adaptation. The music scene is always changing. The music industry is always changing. How will you adapt so you can stay relevant? And do it in a way to where you can still be your true, authentic self. Because we always say this when we first get into the industry or we first get into music. I don't want to compromise what I'm doing, but I want to make it. You got to find a way to find a balance for both. I've had to learn that, right? My sound is my sound, but I also have to make sure that my sound is catering to people that it needs to get to. And you know, my brother Lathan, shout out to him, aka Chin, he brought up a good point when we were talking about this the other day. You know, just because the music sounds good to you doesn't necessarily mean it's going to sound good to everybody. You always got to find some way to stay your true, authentic self while still trying to relate to what the consumer needs. And that's very important, because if you think about it, music is a what? Music is a business. In a business, what is the goal? The goal is to make sure that the consumers that are invested in your business get exactly what they desire. And that doesn't mean you can't go off and do your own thing and so on and so forth, but that means recognizing what the crowd wants. The word MC means move the crowd. In order to move the crowd, you got to feel the crowd to see what they desire and go from there. That is extremely, extremely, extremely important, y'all. I want y'all to remember that. And my last point before I wrap up this video, I'm going to try not to go past 20 minutes. We're already at the 18.5-minute mark. Is for all my musicians out there, just make sure that you are grinding it out and that you are putting yourself out there as much as you can. Listen, here's the deal. Nobody cares about how many albums you drop if you never publicly perform. Nobody cares about how much you publicly perform if you ain't got no music that they can listen to after the performance. Let's say I come to a show and you like, oh, I performed 3 songs, but they're not released yet. Well, do you have any music? Well, no, not yet. And early on, if that's the case, I completely understand. I can let that slide. But at some point, you got to get some stuff out there. Because if I like your jam and I'm like, yo, this song is dope, I can understand if it's an unreleased joint. You're like, well, it's not out yet, it's unreleased. Okay, cool. I can respect that. But when you have nothing, it's kind of like, bruh, I want to check out your stuff. Or let's say you have a whole bunch of music out, but you don't ever perform to get your stuff out there. Ain't nobody really going to know. Oh, I can promote it on social media. I mean, that's great, but that only gets you but so far. At some point, you're going to have to get yourself out there in the wild and start making it do what it do. You know? Bottom line, plain and simple, point blank, period. the sooner that you get to that point, the better off things will be. Find that balance and find it early on. Drop a track or two, go out and perform it. Even if you're just performing those 2 tracks, guess what? If they dig it, they got somewhere they can check it out at. All right? And that's it for now. I have so much more that I could say, but I mean, again, I know this is a long Car Rock Chronicles. Don't want to make this extremely, extremely long. Otherwise, it has issues with uploading. But maybe I'll do more in the future. So comment below. Tell me what you think. If there's any advice you would like to give to newer musicians, newer musical artists, feel free to let me know. Oh, one more thing. I'm going to leave you on this note. Identify your target audience. And that's not an easy thing to do. Let me just put that out there. Identifying your target audience is going to come with a lot of trial and error. But here's the thing. If you can go ahead and have the mindset of constantly researching and experimenting to figure that out, it goes a long way. All right? So, yes, identify your target audience. Figure out, what works. And once you figure that out, you can really get the ball rolling. But again, that takes time. Marcus Fraser from Teachable Tuesdays here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Love you guys. Hope you have a great day. Reminder, I am not a musical guru. I only know so much. But if this helps, leave a like. If this doesn't help, tell me which ways I can improve. And until next time, see you later.